I thought my key fob had died and it's the battery in my car.
He
So,
specifically asked.
I don't know. He said the last meeting, the advisory board meeting he went to, Are We Live? He was upset. Very
No,
upset.
he was supposed to come. All right, we have additions under communications, 5C, letter from North Haven regarding docking ferries in Rockland overnight. And then under 7D, appoint registrar of voters. And those are the two additions for this evening's agenda. And I will call this Town of Vinalhaven Board of Selectmen's meeting to order for Tuesday, December 3rd, 2024. Roll call, Tom Anthony, Ladd Olson, Don Young, Leslie Dyer, myself, Elizabeth Bunker, and Marjorie Stratton. Number 2, motion to approve agenda.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Motion to approve minutes from the November 19th, 2024 meeting.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Number 4, approve and sign treasurer's warrants number 23.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? 5, communications department, not department, DEP, transfer station permit.
So the correspondence is basically just telling us that the application that we submitted for the transfer station license was determined to be complete and accepted for processing on November 26th. Now they will begin going through the application. It doesn't mean anything other than they've accepted the completed application and they'll begin to review it. The main DOT correspondence is just to let us know that there is a project to paint the ferry terminal bridge here, and there's a comment period available for anyone that wants to comment on the project. It's pretty straightforward. I don't know if there's anybody that wants to comment on that, but, and then I did receive a copy of a letter that North Haven wrote to Bruce Van Note, Commissioner, Maine Department of Transportation, just stating their position on the proposal to keep the ferry boats on the mainland instead of docking them on the various islands. I don't know where that stands. It doesn't really affect Vinalhaven. So I'm not sure when that's going to take effect or even if it is, but it was something that was discussed, not at this most recent ferry service or ferry advisory board meeting, but the one before that. So this is just, they wanted to share the letter that they wrote to the commissioner.
Did they say whether they got a response or did they just send the letter recently?
Rebecca said that she just wanted to share a copy of the letter that they had sent.
So there hasn't been anything new, no updates on if they're actually gonna do that or not?
I wouldn't say 100% for sure because it doesn't affect us again. So if for instance, the ferry service had sent out notices, and I was hoping that Alan would be here to update us on the advisory board meeting. He didn't offer any notes from that, so there probably would have been updates.
I'll send them a quick message. You all set on that? Communications, Marjorie?
Yes.
Okay. 6 speakers from the floor. Sam, are you?
Well, I just rushed here because I was chatting with Leslie actually about ferry stuff and I missed what that was about. But
Oh, okay, so you're not,
It's late. Well, it's later on. We do have it on the
I
agenda.
don't see an agenda, sorry, but,
Oh, sorry.
yeah, is our speakers from the floor able to speak at that item?
Yeah,
Like,
um,
is ferry an item?
yeah, it is, it's, 7C. Do you want a copy of the agenda?
I would love one, I don't know if I can stay that long, I have to get some sleep.
Okay, hold on a
Oh, yeah,
second.
I can take a copy. Oh, if it's coming up, I'll wait. Yep. Yeah, I had some. I had sent an email to you all with the same issues.
Typo. Are you coming to
So
the running?
We put a copy of that email in your packet, right? No?
Which email?
The one from
From North Haven?
Samantha?
The one from Samantha? No.
The one that she
But
sent
you
us?
did get an email, right?
Oh, yeah,
But it
yeah,
wasn't
yeah,
in the
yeah.
packet.
Oh, okay.
A couple meetings ago, maybe.
I think I have Alan's.
Or at least it wasn't in this packet, it might have been in one.
I did call him.
I guess
Time it got
our
sent.
thought was that, it had been sent to you directly. So, but certainly if you want a copy of it, and most of that discussion was about the winter
No, I
schedule.
don't.
I find it interesting that they mentioned the emergency vessel. I thought that was not dead in the water.
Oh, they're still playing with it.
So anyway, we'll move on to 7, committee and departmental reports and appointments. And we can move that advisory board up to A if you want to, if you need to leave, Sam.
Stuff's quick, it's not, no, I'm good.
Okay, so we'll,
It doesn't seem like everything's gonna be lengthy, there's no one else here.
well, I know, we thought Alan had said he wanted to be
I wish
here,
Alan
so.
was here, because, yeah,
Yeah, we all have
you
questions.
can carry on, it's.
You're all set to stay then. He might, maybe he'll get my message
Maybe,
and
yeah.
show up. Gabe, you're on here? Yep, downtown project?
Hi, everyone. Hi. So we have a couple of things. Marjorie, do you have USDA on the agenda as a separate thing?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Okay, so I'll just give a quick project update with where things are at all the way around. So just first with the EDA project and the request to them to de-scope the project. That we did finally hear back from them, and they said they should have some information for us within a couple of weeks, so before the year closes out. I'm hoping it's a definitive yes or no to our descoping request, so it's in internal review right now being considered. My guess is what they're going to do is come back to us with questions or requests for additional information or justification. That would be like my most predictable thought on what is going to happen. Best case is they're like, thumbs up, go ahead, submit your new designs, and let's move forward. Worst case is they just outright say no. And if that happens, I don't think we've thought about that yet. We're just trying to move forward with this thought that it's going to happen. And I think, that's really how we've been moving since this whole bid issue came to pass this year of just, put not really like stopping us in our tracks, but certainly, we've just looked at like, okay, what's the next best thing we can do? Nothing, and I keep saying like nothing is ideal. Like this is not how we wanted it to go by any means, but we're trying to keep this alive because we know we need these infrastructure improvements, and this is a once in a lifetime thing of getting this funding. So we don't want to lose it. So we're trying every way we can to keep it going and keep it alive. So hopefully, at least hearing something from them that it's in review is good news. They have what they need to do the review, so that's good. So we'll just see, and we'll keep you posted as soon as we learn more information. So that's on EDA. The NBRC project again, which is primarily the boat launches and the parking lots. Woodard and Kern is putting together the final draft of the parking lots and boat launches. I know that MDOT is very eager for us to get on with the boat launches because we have a ship grant through them, and Marjorie has been in communication. We have a new project manager from MDOT for that portion of the project. So we're trying to, and just keep in mind too, this is kind of a theme. As time goes on, our funders are like, where's the project? What's happening? Because they've invested this money with us, and they are just like, we need to get on with it. Of course, they're part of the complication too. So hopefully everyone's being forgiving, and we're staying in communication and continuing to work with them is the best we can do. So we're doing that as regularly as we can, and getting them information that we need. So anyway, those designs need to come to you all for review, and our stakeholders need to see them again. What we've done is, a couple iterations of those parking lot and boat ramp designs, and we've brought them, back to the public for review. Even if folks haven't looked at the second iteration of the design, we basically took comments from the first iteration and then provided additional information as we reviewed that second iteration. So we have worked hard to incorporate, feedback. I think one issue that you may have heard about already, that's come up since the second iteration of the design, and since the generation of a what's sort of called like a surge memo. We asked Woodard and Curran to address the question with an elevation of 18 inches on the downtown parking lot. How does that change water flow around the structure and therefore towards adjacent properties? So that being like the Tidewater and towards Dot Mills. That surge memo, we had a presentation of that surge memo, and that demonstrated that under certain conditions, water pushing against that surface could increase water flow primarily like up the boat ramp, anywhere from like 1 to 4 inches. We did share this information with the adjacent property owners, and they were not, as you can imagine, they were not pleased with the change. Even the 1 to 4 inches was, they felt was too much, and they are opposed to us elevating the parking lot. So we did have a stakeholder meeting last Wednesday, and we discussed this, and people were, shared their strong opinions about it. And so in both regards, like that elevating was, a necessary part of this project. It's needed in order to install the stormwater system. We need that extra elevation. We've discussed ways to accommodate the fishermen with the design, even with the elevation. So we've worked hard to try to make it work for the project. It's not meant to be a storm surge protection, because we'd have to elevate like 4 feet to do anything about storm surge. And this has been the issue all along, is that elevation is great, but everyone has to do it. Property owners have to do it. MDOT has to do it. Everyone would have to do it. So this is meant to be like a high tide mitigation of preventing that the seawater from coming into the parking lot or up through the parking lot. So the project team has discussed this, and we don't feel like there's any other option but to move forward because of what the project is and because of our funding situation. It's not like we can develop a storm surge protection component to this project at this time. I think, it's something to definitely discuss, especially since people are interested in it now. But it's not part of this project, and there's no way to incorporate that into this project. So just putting that out there because, either you've heard stuff about it or you will. And, we're just doing our best to try to support people and understanding their concerns. But at the same time, we kind of just, we need to just move forward with this design. So, not ideal for everybody, but just, I guess this is where we're at. So, and then one more thing I'll say is that the Water District has scheduled a meeting on December 18th to hopefully review the final designs for and I won't just say designs, it's essentially like the final components to the bid package for the Water District building. So we should have those before the 18th. The district will be able to review them. We'll discuss them with the engineers on the 18th. And then we should be able to move that forward, send it to the funder, get approval to put it out to bid. So that building construction is not on the same timeline as the rest of the NBRC project. And that should be able to move forward without, hopefully, I won't say anything is certain. We know there'll probably be some other strange complication. So hopefully not. But anyway, just so you know, like that is moving forward. And then the last piece of funding is our EPA grant, which I would say like that close to finalizing getting the funding for. We've secured the funding. We just have to go through this application process, which we've been doing. So the other piece is USDA, but that's on the agenda separately. So I won't say any more about all these various components, but happy to answer any questions or address any concerns if folks have them.
Questions for Gabe? Good. I guess we're all set here, Gabe.
All right. Well, thank you as always for your ongoing patience as we try to address the challenges that we've been encountering. So thank you.
Thanks, Gabe. B, Public Works, Millie is not here, and she sent her report that everybody got.
Yep.
So, and then I guess Alan is gonna be a no-show. So, 7C, Maine State Ferry Service Advisory Board, we'll have to move that ahead to the December 17th meeting if he wants to come and talk then.
Yeah, Samantha.
Samantha, you wanna address anything in regards to that?
I think I talked with Alan before I emailed you all, this was on the 25th, I sent that email, just after being in Rockland on a Sunday, and there we are in overflow, and it's the holiday time, and like arguably the busiest season for people who live here. Like, not summer, because a lot of people don't go away in the summer because it's such a nightmare, and they have things to do for the holidays and kids' activities and travel. And there we are with the Sunday schedule. And I don't travel a lot, but I'm like, what? This always happened in January and February, when ridership is low. So Jake says, I don't remember this either, like, this is weird. So I just messaged Alan and said like, hey, like, what's up with this? I don't remember the Sunday being in November. And he said, yeah, me neither, but at the last Ferry Advisory Board meeting, I think he'd be fine with me discussing what we discussed. He said it got brought up, and basically it's like, this is what we're doing, and Alan said, expressed his dislike with it and questioned it, and it's just, well, that's what's happening. Where in any of their decisions, and Leslie and I have talked a lot, we've messaged a lot, like, I think everyone agrees with me, where is the explanation for their changes to any of this stuff? When it was the 3:15 winter schedule, oh, it's because it's dark. Like, there's not real explanation with most anything, and I think they were supposed to follow up with data, and no, this is why, and this is, and like, are they tracking the daylight hours? Like, why does that go till March? They do what they feel like. I feel like poor Alan is trying his very best to represent our interests, and he did it well with the rate change, like that, we have no control over that, I guess. But it's like, with something like this, where is their explanation and the data? They should have data and ridership numbers and all sorts of explanation of why they make these convoluted decisions that affect a lot of people. And I'm baffled by it, and I think Alan's baffled by it, and I just think, how are we gonna, I mean, I put something on Facebook, I got a bunch of like a lot of people liked it, a lot of people agree with it, but everyone is like, well, what can we do? And so I just think our town needs to do something, and maybe it's more than a letter. I hear you guys have written, you've given your concerns, and it's all on deaf ears, but like, what do you do next? Do you just roll over and take it, or do we do something? And I'm not saying I know what that answer is, but I think number one is that we need to demand from the Maine State Ferry Service data for every decision they're making regarding our ferry. And I think they won't be able to provide it. I think it's baloney. Like, this whole, you have two boats, well, you have two boats, we have two boats, and you just take it. Our population is, what is our population compared to Islesboro? What is our population compared to North Haven? Like, that is a nonsensical answer to me. That is a bull answer. Our population and ridership warrant it. And so like today, here, I'm coming back and we had a propane trip and it's the Philbrook is on. So, and that'll probably be through March. I bet that'll be through March that smaller boat's on. Basketball teams, we've got more basketball teams of kids. I said, here we go, it's gonna feel like a Libby when you have, I mean, I'm coaching a 3rd and 4th grade basketball team that's going away every Saturday. Like, we have 3rd through 12th grade playing basketball on weekends. But where's kids gonna go? They're all gonna cram into the Philbrook. Like, just, I don't think I'm preaching to anyone who argues with me, but it's just it's so crazy what they're doing to us, and they do it over and over and over, and we just seem to take it. And I think the question is, how do we send them a clear message? Like, what's the next step? Like, do we threaten legal action? You are discriminating against us. You are targeting us. Like, you are taking away our service, like, for no solid reason. I think what is the next step? And that's all for you to hopefully discuss if you think it's worth the battle. I think it's worth the battle, and at least make noise and not look like we just, oh, well, they'll do what they're gonna do. I just, like, that, why can Islesboro not function with the Philbrook? Why? Like, what is the explanation for that? And what's the ridership numbers, and how many Islesboro people are getting stuck over? I just saw a mother of a 2-month-old baby had to go over this morning to get her car back. And like, because it got expanded, because the Philbrook was on. I don't know, I'm not like trying to rant at you people, I'm just like, I think you're our best course of sending a message to them, like, what are you doing to us?
And how many other islands have a Sunday schedule like ours?
Yes.
And how many trips a day does Islesboro make compared to Vinalhaven?
Give us numbers.
If they have multiple trips, why do they need the Thompson? They could make do with the Philbrook.
Yeah.
It makes zero sense. And like Alan told me today, I go to the meeting and they basically tell us what they're going to do. There's no input. And isn't there a procedure?
It's a show.
Isn't there a procedure though? There's supposed to be written comment period. There's supposed to be a meeting. And he said they're just going ahead and telling us what they're going to do. He said, why do we even have a board?
I know people who've served on that board and they said, I'm getting done with that. They don't listen to anyone. It's just a big check the box. Oh, we have this committee. Oh, on paper, you have a representative, and they don't listen. And I blame Alan if he would be able to. Like, who wants to take their time to go over there and put up with that nonsense and not be heard at all? But they should have to prove, I think for this 3:15 schedule, they should be proving the daylight hours and how dark it is. And March 8th, it's gonna be light enough at 4:30 to run that boat. Like, why is it until that arbitrary time? Like, they do what they want, but they are not made to provide data or explanation. And so that's, I think, and not honoring the Ferry Advisory Board at all. I think that needs to be addressed, because I feel for Alan. He's the one probably getting the complaints from people, and what can he do? So I don't know, I just think they are out of line with what they're doing. And that Sunday schedule, like, I don't know if Vlad maybe didn't see my email. But like, so, and then in the winter, so you've extended it 2 times as long as it was. It was 2 months, now it's 4 months, like just 100% increase. Like, well, who does that? And that is the time of year when more boats are canceled for weather than ever. So what happens on Saturday? We're down to the Philbrook, so less people. Then a few boats get canceled, or all day gets canceled Saturday for weather. What happens to those people on Sunday? And then they're still gonna stick to that Sunday schedule? I just see it. I see the writing on the wall of what a nightmare people will be dealing with.
I agree.
And for what? For what reason? So I just think they have some splaining to do.
Who shows up for the state on those meetings?
I have no idea.
I didn't go to the last one.
But typically, who would you expect to be there? Bill Gary and who else?
Bill Pulver, sometimes the commissioner comes. He was at the one, not this last one, but the one previous. Other people that create the data, the ridership reports. Do you mean who shows up just from the state?
Yes, from the state.
Yeah.
Because they still haven't provided the numbers on the ticket sale from Vinalhaven. They're still all combining everything that's sold in Rockland for Vinalhaven, North Haven, and Matinicus.
Yes.
And we really can't have any kind of analysis without that breakdown.
Correct. And they love getting their numbers, oh, the ridership's low on Sunday. Well, why do you think that is? If there's less boats, people are scared to go away. They're scared to go away if they don't think they can get home. The hotel room is
Not cheap.
You don't wanna take that gamble.
I agree.
I spoke briefly with Bill Gary about that, and I think part of it is that he doesn't have any history. You know, I said, Bill, the Sunday schedule was always just January and February in my recollection, you know, so what's going on? And he said, you know, kind of the statement of, well, you know, I wasn't here a few years ago, but anyway, he said that they only wanted to have 2 schedules. If you look at a schedule, for instance, from a 2019, there are 3 schedules because of the change in the Sunday boats. And the explanation I got was that they only wanted to have 2 schedules, which you know, admittedly is a
Well, it's
pretty.
easier than 2 schedules, 1 schedule.
Yeah.
Right.
You have 3 with that Sunday anyway, that's basic. Yeah.
Well, it used to be that this, you know, okay, so it changes to the 3:15
November.
in
Yeah.
November, but we still had a full schedule on Sunday.
Right.
But then in January and February, it was different because it would be the 3:15 plus there would be a reduced schedule on Sunday. Now there's just 2, during the year, now there's just 2 different schedules, the summer and the winter.
Right.
And that was the explanation that was given to me
And staffing is
about
probably
the Sunday.
Yeah.
Why it was, and honestly, it kind of snuck by me too. You know, the fact that, I'm like, yeah, wait a minute, I thought that was only January and February.
Yes.
And now suddenly it's, when does it start now?
November.
Daylight savings.
When
When
the
it changes,
3:15
yeah.
starts.
The daylight
They only
savings.
wanted to have a summer schedule and a
Right.
winter schedule. But they did, Sam, if you want a copy of that study that was done back in 2018, I don't know,
I may have seen
it
it
was
once.
that was instigated or that was started by the ferry captains. That wasn't started by,
For the 3:15, the
Yeah.
winter schedule, yeah.
yeah, that was started by the
Oh, yeah.
ferry
Oh, yeah.
captains.
Yes.
That wasn't started
Remember
by the
that.
administration, so, I mean, I just think,
Is the Sunday one all due to ridership? Like, do we have an explanation of why that was ever a thing?
that wasn't
Yeah,
given to me.
yeah,
have no
like, so
idea.
why is there any Sunday schedule? Why is it not like Lance said, one schedule, or like they're making 3 schedules because Sunday is a 3rd schedule, in my opinion.
And I bet even with all the canceled boats that we had last year, I still bet our tickets are more. Our ticket sales are more.
The only cost savings they must have is fuel, which it probably is significant, but they're still paying the crew, they're still paying the ferry office workers, I'm sure. They have to come in to do line numbers and whatnot. I just think it's absurd what they've done, and it just keeps getting worse and worse. And
It does.
I like to look ahead and at a problem. I don't like waiting for, oh, Sunday, if I'm on the mainland and they cancel Saturday and I'm trying to get home Sunday and I'm effed, like all of us. I like to look ahead to that, and I don't think they care to look ahead to anything. I think
Well, they've looked
they'll
ahead.
deal with it and deal with it when it comes up.
They've looked ahead to have another rate increase in June. They've looked ahead to that, so.
It's more money for people and a less service.
Agreed.
Well, certainly we're all frustrated.
I've said it before, we haven't talked about it in a while, and I know like we emailed Holly, and that
She
went
never
nowhere. And we really do have to light a fire and make a lot of noise up high, like
I think, I don't know if Phil sent the letter that he wrote to you guys, if he forwarded it, but it
Yeah,
went to
what
the
he sent
governor's
to,
office,
governor.
and she just said, we'll fix it, and I don't recall what problem that was at that point, but
Staffing.
she, because of the the
Cancellations.
And basically, she doesn't really want to deal with it. It's
I'm
not-
sure she doesn't.
It's not her.
Should be handled well below her.
It should be whoever the commissioner or whatever, I mean, Van Note, I'm gonna say Van Note, but I'd like to say something else, but anyway, it's just, I don't know what you do. We
I
talked to
think you
them,
keep-
we've sent letters,
if we can keep
What are you gonna
bringing the
do?
governor, I don't care if she says it's not her problem or not, squeaky wheel gets the grease, and
but if you keep, I mean, it's her right to ignore what we do.
Marge, do you have any suggestions?
then put it in the newspaper.
Tom,
Samantha, how about a petition on the island?
we've done
We've done a
petitions.
petition.
The more that they see, the louder the
I
squeakier
just
the
think
wheel
it has to be
is.
all the things. I mean, I agree with Lad, like,
It's not like, they still, that whole crewing thing, it's been like quieted here lately, that is not over, and they haven't done actually a thing to mitigate that, it's just,
The,
It's a Band-Aid.
somebody is,
yeah,
there's a lawsuit now,
It's the State
Right.
Employees Union.
correct.
the union, I'm sorry,
Yeah,
yeah,
the
the union is suing.
Cause it's bigger, that whole issue is way, way bigger and deeper than what
Yes.
we've talked about. And that's, like I said, it's been quiet for a minute, but that's all gonna blow up again, and they haven't done one thing to mitigate any of that, so that's gonna come around again too.
Especially if they're messing with the union.
So who ended up getting Holly Eaton's seat?
Jason Joyce.
No, Holly.
No, she got it back.
She got it
She
back?
won.
I thought she
Oh,
lost
I
it.
thought she wasn't even running.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
she
was
was,
running.
but I thought she
Oh,
lost
okay.
it.
So
Guess
it's
you
still
didn't, I
Holly.
guess you didn't check your mailbox with the.
I didn't know
500
who won
flyers
that
or-
either.
I don't remember. I remember
No, I knew
seeing
she
it, but I
won.
don't,
I
I knew
heard
she
that
won,
she
but I,
was-
It wasn't even close.
It wasn't
Okay,
good.
so let's move on. Marjorie, you're making
I don't think it
notes.
was good.
I don't know what else there is to say. I mean, we've said all of
Yeah.
this
multiple times.
how many times, and, yeah, and I don't know what else to say, but Marjorie, maybe keep rattling her cage. I mean, she didn't even respond to your letter,
No.
and she never comes to Vinalhaven that I know of.
what about asking the town's legal representation? Do we have any, like, to at least threaten them?
Well, I
Say-
think
say you
I think
are-
the only thing we could do is threaten them, and people didn't wanna do it then. I still would be into it, would be the thing that Pete had talked about.
Like, ask them, are they violating any rights here? Are they doing anything that's, I don't know, it seems so out of line and targeting a group of people. I don't know, that's me. I think if it's calling them every Monday at 3 o'clock, if it's writing a letter, if it's doing a petition, like, just to just say, well, we've tried and not try anymore, I don't know, I think that's a problem, that's my opinion.
Ordinarily, you start with a discussion, but that doesn't seem to be working.
Nothing seems
And
to be
addressing the
working.
Fair Advisory Board, I think, is maybe one of the number one things, because, yeah, are you following the protocols? Where is the data for your decisions? Like, we are demanding, like, your letter should say, we demand the ridership numbers proving that ours is too low and it's lower than Owlsboro. I mean, Owlsboro's the one always getting our boat. Like, they're having the engine work, why aren't they using the relief boat? It's not like we're saying they can't have a boat, why?
Okay,
What's the numbers? I
okay,
think
all
that's
right,
the number.
that's good, we all understand, but sitting here reiterating all of
I
this,
guess I just would hope if the
We're
board
gonna
would say,
move-
this is the action we plan to take, like, not just, I guess that's what my hope is.
we're gonna move on to the next thing, but Sam, I'm sorry.
I've gotta go to the store, we'll chat.
Yeah, well, I don't think sitting here for the next half hour is gonna get us any further ahead. Marjorie's making notes, and everything we're
So-
saying, we've talked about before.
I'll have another conversation with Bill Gary. I'll see if I can get in contact with Holly Eaton, our legislative representative. So some of the questions, you know, what, is there any procedure for changing the schedule? Any public input? It doesn't seem like there is. I mean, that's a question that I have. Is it based on ticket sales or ridership? Is there any legal recourse? I don't think so. And why does Owlsboro have to have the bigger boat? Those were the questions that I got out of the conversation. Okay.
And I know they sued the state, right?
Yes, they
Owlsboro
did.
So
Over the rates.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
rates, yeah.
that was quite a while ago.
It was.
So anyway, I didn't mean to shut anybody down, but I think the conversation
We
is
could've done
not
this
really
all
going
night.
anywhere.
Yes.
Except getting people more distraught, and that's too bad, but that's what it's doing to everybody. It's not just a few, that's for sure. So we'll move on to 7D, appoint registrar of voters.
Has to be done every odd year.
Oh, this is an
So this
odd
is
year,
just-
all right.
It's an odd year.
In good order.
So it's just appointing Darlene as the registrar of voters for Vinalhaven.
And I would make a motion that we appoint Darlene Candage to the registrar of voters of Vinalhaven, Maine.
So moved.
All in favor? Thank you.
Signatures, please.
Yes. Alrighty. Moving on to old business, A, Vinyl Cove project.
Well, I kind of forced Brent into a response, even though they hadn't gotten a response from DEP. And I gave you a copy of his email, and what he estimated the cost would be for the permitting and the work that we would have to do in terms of mitigation. I don't know what, I mean, I understand there's a big problem there, it's not going away. I mean, do you want to revisit the study that we did do? Or, I'm not sure how the board wants to proceed.
I certainly would not recommend that we spend $110,000 on permits that might not get us anywhere. That
I
would
agree.
seem a huge waste of time and money. I think, personally, I think we should try to figure out how to create some kind of a way to get over the flooding area.
I think so
Great.
too.
I tend to agree.
Raising the road, just raising the road. I mean,
Somehow
it doesn't
figure-
take but a few inches to stop that, at least stop, and maybe on a, you know, storm surge or big tide, it might flood. But you wouldn't have to raise the road a ton to get that to stop, doing it every month.
But that was one of the proposals.
Yes.
In the
That's
report that we
$750,000, something like that.
that, sounds about right, yeah.
I'm sure it'd be way more than that now, but that was a while ago, huh?
Yeah,
It
about
was
a year ago or so.
But, yeah.
How
That,
about, Pam, this problem obviously is related to not just storm surge, but, to the increase in tide level all up and down the coast. And couldn't we possibly look at grants for resilience against the climate change?
We're constantly looking at grants. Yeah, I have another meeting for a new grant proposal on Friday.
Because that would seem to fall into, the resilience that we're looking at for up and down the coast.
oh, Gabe, go ahead.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I think when we initially did the study, so the intention was that we would seek grant funding because there are many resilience grants that type of infrastructure adaptation is a perfect candidate for. But in order to get the grant, obviously we had to do the initial study. We had to have some preliminary concept designs. That's what we got, and we grant funded that study. We have that information. I think why we didn't move forward, I think there was hesitancy on the cost to do that, but also, the town was feeling, I think, overburdened with existing projects and existing commitment to funding. We would likely need to come up with some level of match. $110,000 could go a long way towards some match. But if the town wants to actively start looking, I mean, we can. There's grants we can apply for, as soon as possible to do that. I think it was really just a question of, wanting to get the downtown project going, wanting to move through some of what was already on our plates. But it's certainly a very viable project. I think one of the other concerns we had is that the meadow by the fountain there, that spring also floods. And so if we were gonna go ahead and do a big grant that, we'd have to manage, a big federal grant that we'd have to manage, wouldn't it make sense to do that whole roadway and not just a piece of the roadway and then have to go back and do a study and do the rest of the roadway? So I think
Right.
that was also a sort of a pause because we didn't include that in the initial study. We just included that portion of the meadow that's always flooding. So just putting that out there, but I think if there's appetite for it and the board wants us to explore that, I mean, I can name off several grants that could be pursued.
It'd be interesting to see just how much the cost to the town would be with the potential grants, and if it was reasonable, we can move forward, but until we know the numbers, it's pretty hard to make a decision on it.
Yeah, I mean, I think you can figure on, if you're going after a resilience grant, you can figure on like 25%. And I can't remember the total cost of it. It was like there was a couple of options, I think, but they were both around $1 million. So
By the time you get done with financing, you're gonna be up over $1 million.
Well, if you get the grant, it's not,
No, but I'm saying the project cost, I'm not saying the town cost.
Yeah, I remember that, and we did have a bunch of other stuff. That's why we didn't move forward with it. I remember that meeting that we discussed
I mean, it's
it.
definitely something we need to do,
We
but
need to do now.
I do still lean towards maybe get the downtown project going and get the grants.
we can see there's a state grant that we did apply for the downtown project that we didn't get. We were hoping that was going to be sort of our solution to the cost overrun. We didn't get that, but this project would be another good candidate for that. I'm not sure how much money they're going to offer this round. So we'll see if it that comes up, I think in February, that grant gets announced. So we can keep our eyes open for that and see if it's around that price tag, it would be worth applying for, because certainly a state grant would be way easier to manage than trying to do another federal grant. I mean, we're gonna have like four federal grants if we get the USDA grant, and that's a lot to manage, so.
That is a lot.
Yeah, I mean, but personally, I think we ought to hold off till we know we got all the funding for the downtown project before we start. Running and gunning,
Another iron in the fire.
running and gunning here with,
Oh, what the hell?
I mean, sure, you're
it
up for it.
can't hurt.
You're gonna sign a
can't
5-year
hurt to
contract to stay as
apply.
town manager?
It can't hurt to apply, I mean, you know, they're gonna either say yes or no.
Yeah, if it's a state grant, then it's a little easier to deal with. I mean, if it's, yeah.
If it
we ought to
comes
be
up in
looking. I'll say
February,
we do
Gabe,
it,
I
we
say
ought
go
to take a
for
look.
it.
I mean, one thing we can do is just see if it's enough money, if this
Right.
grant round is gonna offer enough money that it would be worth applying for. That gives you enough time, because it would be, moving into budget season to then, be able to put something in the warrant that gives you the match, because that would be the other thing, is you need to document where that match would come from. So just, something that we would have to consider.
Maybe would the board be fine tabling it till February, meet back
Wait
with
and see,
Gabe and
yeah.
see if there's enough money even out there to.
That'll work.
How about if Gabe or I see an opportunity, bring
Bring
it
it
to
to
the board?
them,
Yeah.
by all means.
Yep.
That's a good idea.
But touch base again in on it around then.
Around budget
anyways, yeah.
season, yeah.
Okay.
Anything else on that?
Mhm.
Okay. 8B, budgeting for paid family and medical leave.
So, back to the question of, we have to start sending in 1% of our payroll to the state for this paid family and medical leave. And the decision that the employer has to make is, do we want to pay the full 1%, or do we want to pay 0.5 and take 0.5 out of the employees? Debbie and I did attend a little webinar today, and I don't know that we learned anything new, more than what we've learned from what we've been reading. But it is up to the employer to decide about this 1% or 0.5. If we pay the whole thing, our annual salary, if you look at it, our W-2 payroll, for instance, it'll be about $9,000 total annually. And then, of course, half of that if we only pay the 0.5. And I think last time somebody asked me the question, well, what are other towns doing? And it really has come about 50-50. Some towns are paying the whole 1%, and some are saying, well, we split Social Security and Medicare, so let's just split this one, We have to start paying starting in January, and then we have to send a quarterly payment into the state. So it'd be in April for January, February, March would be the first quarter.
So what would that look like out of an employee's paycheck?
0.5%.
Says here what it might be if you made $600 a week, it would be $3.
Okay.
Would contribute no more than $3 per week at the 0.5%. Which is not a lot of money.
And, our payroll company will be dealing with the nitty-gritty logistics of this program, but the decision that the employer has to make is how they're gonna pay the 1%.
What do you think, Marjorie? How do you feel about it?
I knew somebody was going to ask
Well, of
me
course.
that, and I just, I don't know.
Do we have 4,500 or 9,000 in the budget? Where would this, where does that come
It's
from?
for the first, so from January to June, I didn't put anything extra in the budget. It would have to come out of that, what we raise for, Social Security and Medicare, that employee ERB deduction, that budget. Unless you wanted to go back and have a special town meeting, I don't,
No.
Well,
I
for
don't
the,
either.
for the $4,500,
We can find $4,500, I think, in that.
On the principle, though, I would think that 50% for the town, 50% for the employee, because at the end of the day, this is for the employee's benefit. And I think there should be
is.
some skin in the game.
And that would make it kind of the same as the other employee deductions.
I was just saying, we keep it in line with everything else.
And we're actually very,
not
very
huge.
generous on benefits with our employees.
it's not a lot of
When
money.
you look at medical, dental,
but-
so I don't really have a problem saying 50%.
Yeah. I guess I don't have a strong opinion either way. I've been thinking about it and I just, didn't,
Other than we shouldn't have to do it.
yeah, I know.
I mean, if I have an
guess
opinion,
every-
it's because
Yeah.
it's that we shouldn't have to do
The
it.
No,
other
we shouldn't.
conversation that was on the manager's listservs and some of the other ones was, I thought they were just gonna repeal this, because it was so complex to administer. I mean, they haven't even really gotten to the point where in, 2026, when they start receiving applications to actually dole out this money, how is that all gonna work? They admittedly don't even have all that worked out, but it's, they're mandating that we start paying into the program as an employer.
Yeah,
And it's not just municipalities, it's
Oh,
every
yeah.
employer,
Fox Island
our
Electric
pizza
facing the
shop,
same thing.
everybody.
What are they doing?
It's just interesting they're putting the cart before the
50%.
horse.
It is interesting.
Typical.
It's typical.
And we, as I said, we went to a webinar today, Debbie and I, and we're gonna attend another one. The one today was put on by Department of Labor, the one tomorrow is being put on by Drummond and Woodson, a law firm. I don't know if we'll get any other perspective about it, but, we're just trying to learn all that we can.
If we went 50%, is there any reason in the future, if we decided it was appropriate, we could bump it up to 1% for the town?
I tried to ask that question at the webinar, I put it in, but it didn't come up. There were a lot of people on that webinar. And I guess what I think about that is that it's up to the employer. I mean, that seems clear in the literature. So it seems like if we did the 50-50, we can later on, all they care about is
Getting the money.
getting the
Getting money.
1%.
Right.
Obviously, state of Maine's good at that.
If we do 50%, we need to communicate that to the employees before withholding starts.
Of course.
And we could always start 50-50 in January and then budget the 1%.
We can do that too.
So,
Yeah, starting July 1, we could change
yeah,
that.
Yeah.
we could change it. I think that's what we should
Well, the
do.
eligibility is so clear to read that little section there that, boy, I understand all there is to know about that. It's like, oh,
Clear as mud.
Yeah.
it's crazy. All right, so do we need to vote on this now, or
Oh, wait, well,
do we need to make a motion on this?
we need to start January 1st.
So we should vote now, then, to get it
Sure.
clarified. So what is the, what do you,
I make a motion, we do it 50-50.
second?
Can we have the provision to, when we budget, to reevaluate?
Well, that's a separate
Yes.
motion.
That'll
be
be,
separate,
okay.
Yeah, the motion is, would you read that back a little bit? Dawn just said,
Dawn recommends splitting the paid family and medical leave at
0.5.
0.5%
Okay.
for the employee and employer.
Okay, thank you. So that's the motion that's on the table.
Second.
Okay, all in favor? Okay, did you want to make another motion, Leslie, about the,
I think come budget season, I think we should look into
Right.
the town paying the 1% as of July 1st, when the new budget starts.
Okay, and that's your motion? So moved, second? Do I have a second on that?
Second.
Okay, all in favor? Did you, everybody understand what that, okay, all right, so we're all set on that then. So it will come back in June for us to discuss, all right. Okay, that's it on that one. 9, new business, review and approve the USDA funding. Discuss the USDA application, give the public opportunity to share feedback. And the meeting minutes need to document that the public was notified of the town's intent to file a grant application for the purpose of upgrading the stormwater collection system. And that notice was in the wind,
21 through 27. Yeah,
the last wind, correct?
yeah, we put the required notice in our little newspaper, so.
Yeah. So I would like to make a motion to apply for the USDA CY 2022 Disaster Grant Program for the downtown stormwater system.
Second.
All in favor? Okay, great, thanks.
Thank you, great job.
Okay. Thank you.
I'll get that from you tomorrow.
It's okay.
Okay. Moving on to 10, report of town manager.
I don't think I have anything, unless some people have questions for me about anything at all.
I don't.
Oh,
That one? Just that it's been done, or?
oh, yeah, we did the, up to the amount of money that we had in the budget, we did the trimming and clearing at the airport. So
Yes,
that's done.
Oh, good.
I mean, they did request a little bit more, but, I mean, I only had so much money. Not me. There was only so much money in the budget. I tend to say,
That's fine.
We knew.
We understand you're not actually.
oh, the streetlight
thinking all of
project.
the town's money is.
Those were just a couple things.
Yeah, the streetlight project has been completed.
I think they're great.
Yeah, mostly positive comments. We have had some, we did order 5 of the shades, because some people found that they were too bright. So we're gonna,
The one by my house is not as bright.
It's not.
Not as bright?
No.
But did they install any of those yet, do you know?
Already installed.
pardon, what?
The lights were already installed, right?
No,
All
the
of them.
shades.
I'm not 100% sure.
Okay, I was just curious
Yeah,
if you could tell a difference. I like the one down by the crosswalk in town. That lights up that crosswalk so much better. I mean, it's still dark on the other side by the
Is there
Eagle,
something-
but,
Did you get your
it
old
was just
fire
something
hall
that-
streetlight?
We can,
no. No,
they haven't
I'll
come
never
back
get
with
that.
a recommendation.
I'll ask again come budget
Martha
season.
Denise and Pat are supposed to come back.
And a
with
ladder on the float up at,
Nope, haven't got that
no,
either.
they haven't,
No.
no.
We'll get that when somebody needs it.
Yeah, I know where there's, I
Exactly.
know where there's a ladder,
Yeah,
quote. Mont is getting ready
What is this
to,
about?
That was a note to myself.
cut
I
up
didn't
to
get
burn.
monthly
The float
report.
is down by Troy's Wharf, and there's a ladder on it,
oh, really?
yeah.
I'll
Talk
mention
to
that.
Mont and get him to take it off, we put it right up, we've got a ladder right there.
Yeah, okay, cool, I'll go check that out. All right, number 11, report of members. Anybody have anything they want to talk about? And if that is,
Motion to adjourn.
that is number 12, yes. Motion to adjourn,
second.
all in favor? And that is it. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Hi, Gabe.
Bye.
Bye, Gabe.
Hey, Gabe.